Hello, I'm going to show you how I made Beast Belly, which consists of a very simple level, first-person camera and gamepad controls, as well as a baked texture for the level. So we start by selecting everything and deleting it all. And we add a cube and just scale it a little. So first we're gonna just start with a tunnel. Let's go into edit mode and extrude and extrude and extrude, and we're gonna want to select invisible objects and scale on the y-axis. So it has a kind of organic feel, the arc. And extrude once more. Alright, so we have one single element, and this is going to be used for both the walls and the bones. So what we're gonna have to do now is extrude this. A bunch of times. And now let's do one more. Now we are going to, so this is the tunnel, and now we're going to make the bones. So we're going to extrude it, confirm, and scale on the z-axis and on the y-axis. And like if we just scaled normally, we would have this weird effect. And now let's do the same with the other middle parts. I selected them with gaps because otherwise we would also like extrude and scale these parts. So again, extrude, confirm, scale Z and scale Y. Alright. Let's just center this a bit, and 2, 1, 2. What we're gonna want to do next is add a camera. Shift A, camera, and its position is all wrong. Actually, location 0 to 30, and we want it to look the other way. Let's just switch to wireframe mode, and okay, now it looks down, not so great. 90 degrees that way, and 90 degrees this way. Perfect. And numpad 0 will show us the camera perspective. Whoops. And we want to do one more thing for the level. Well, many things. But one important thing is we're just gonna flip the normals. And whoops. We're gonna switch to Blender Game, and P gives us the inside. Okay, let's also add a light. And switch to solid mode. Alright. As a next step, we're gonna add a movable make the camera movable. And because we want the camera to not go through walls, we will give it a physical object. So we will create a cube. Let's make it a little smaller. And scale it on the y-axis. So this will be our player object. And this is our, let's just call it level, or better, belly. Camera stays camera. And we're gonna make the camera, we are attaching the camera to the player by selecting the camera first and then the player, and then hitting Control P and selecting object. And so now if we move the player, the camera moves with it. And next we're gonna we are going to make the player movable. So back to wireframe mode and make the player dynamic regarding physics. And just for a simple start, keyboard key W will cause movement, aka motion. Just connect this and let's first of all let's move it by 1, press P while hovering there. Oops. So looks like we have to switch direction. Also, what's going on? Why is it outside of the game? No. Outside of the level? No. Okay, so it does drop in the level and it moves way too fast. Also, I forgot, we want to fix like these are way too high. Oh. Even though the player was able to walk over them, That's nice, but we really want it back there. Okay, so if we start the game again and press W, we move, but still way too fast. So we're gonna select the player again. There you are. And what we're gonna do is reduce. Actually, we don't want this kind of motion because it's. Why don't we? Because it's like too static. So we're gonna switch to servo control and reduce it by minus 0.5 and set the minimum to minus 50. Enable X, Y, and Z. Okay, and this is way too slow. Alright, so let's set it to minus 5 and set minus 100. And this is better. Except now we are sliding, so this doesn't actually show you, but I'm press, release. Press, release. Press, release. So we're sliding like on ice, so let's just change the physical attributes of the material, which we are now creating, of the level. Let's call this material beast meat. Let's make it non-specular. Make it red. And physics. We want friction of 50. So let's check it, try it again. Okay, this is way too much. Let's set it to 10. Yeah, not bad. I think 5 is enough actually. Yes, this gives it a much better feeling. So now we're gonna just add movement, like this was W key. This is forward. And we want the same for S key. And we're gonna use A and D to turn. Shift space to maximize the view window, whatever, and motion again. So S key is doing what? It's increasing X. Yes, it's increasing X by 5, maximum 1 in servo control. Maximum 100. 5 and back to the game, and we can go forward and backward now as you can see now. Right, so let's finish this and just add more movement. Which axis is this? Is it Z? Let's see. Yeah, so A key is rotating left, and D key should be rotating right, which is -1. Wonderful. And we cannot walk through walls. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna paint the surfaces, the faces. So let's go to default just a minute, for just a minute. Let's get rid of animation. Let's get rid of a timeline view. And we're gonna just select faces. And for this we're gonna use this view and B and drag. So we want all these arc faces to be white and the rest to be black, red. And I guess usually you would probably not use this kind of, like not use one mesh, but the bones would be their own. But we're gonna keep it simple. So let's create a new material, let's call it bone. And let's remove this reflectiveness again. And there's nothing else much really, except we have to assign it to these faces, of course. And now let's see. Yep, we can already see. The effect in the game. So let's go back to game mode, and just one thing about the controls. I actually prefer using the gamepad since I got used to it. And there's two things, very important things. I'm currently on Linux, and apparently the right analog stick is not properly set up. So to use the right axes, if I remember correctly, you have to go to axis number 2, and then right is down, while left is the left trigger. So it's all screwed up with the Xbox controller on Linux, at least on my distribution. Just watch out for that. But other than that, I'm gonna just add with 10,000 threshold. Left axis should also what should it do? It should move us. It should rotate us, which is like left is A. So let's drag it here. And if I'm not mistaken, this will make it impossible to rotate unless I use both. So we want to switch this one to OR. Okay, key, joystick. Wonderful. So let's just JA1L. Let's just add the same for the other JA1R. This will be also an axis, the right one this time. This one was left. Oh, wait, yes, this was left. Now we're gonna use right, again 10,000 threshold. And we didn't assign it yet. So we want to rotate like D. And we will have to switch to OR again. And let's just do 2 more real quick for front and back. J axis 1 up, J axis 1 down. axes and up, and axes and down, and 10,000 and 10,000. So up is forward, down is backward. Let's rename you, by the way. Left, I believe, and right, I believe. And what do we want now? We just want to do the OR thing. Right, so gamepad works and keyboard works now. Let's just switch to texture. And now what is left is two things. First, let's add a sound. So we're going to add a empty plain axes object. And let's call it, let's see, empty sound starter. And it's gonna create a nice ambient sound, which is to make it play a sound, we're gonna do this here as well, and we're gonna use the always sensor to make a sound while selecting this empty sound starter object. So we're gonna open. So we're gonna open a sound file, and if we test the game now, we can hear something. And this is our rumbling. Right, so what is left now is just to make the textures look better. And for that, we will go back to default, and we're gonna add a new view. So let's switch this to UV image editor. And now we're gonna unwrap this. And create a new image called Beast UV. And what are we gonna do next? We're gonna switch to Blender Render. And in the Render tab, we're just gonna bake. All right. So now we will just assign this image as the texture. So let's create, first of all, let's save, pack it, and now create a new material. Which will be called Beast Texture. Again, diffuse full and specular 0. Color doesn't matter anymore, and we're gonna And we're gonna create a new texture, and we will use our image. Right, so this becomes the texture of this material. And if we go inside, we have to switch to Blender Game again first. And go out of edit mode. And it doesn't work yet. Crap. Let's get rid of this view. Texture, material. Right. So now we're gonna add a few more lights. Shift D. And go back to material view. And go back. Oh yeah. We might have, we have to switch to GLSL. And if I'm not mistaken, we are now seeing the baked texture. And so now we can walk around and enjoy the sound and the atmosphere. Well, thanks for watching. This was it.